Hi there. I've skipped the vlog yesterday, and that was a conscious decision. I was overwhelmed with chores, and I realized that a vlog should help me uh, with my reflection, help me thinking aloud. So, this is a kind of a form of a therapy, public therapy session. So I'm relaxing my schedule further because this exact format is not for a certain target audience. I'm learning SMM and I create different forms of content in different channels designed for a particular audience. And here in this form, I should be maximally relaxed. Does it record, by the way? Yeah, it is. So, skipped vlogging yesterday, and that was a good thing. The observation from those chores, so even when you have a series of things to do, even if they are simple in retrospective, like in my case, is to take my child to the airport, pick a card from a social fund, visit a bank to get the password, app password reset. All of them are routine, but when you anticipate them, they are full with uncertainty because those not the things you're doing every day. Also, you know that you already did lots of things like that in your life routinely. Additionally, the airport requires you to wake up. Not, it wasn't quite early, but still earlier by an alarm. And that ended up that I didn't do any progress, anything for progress for development of my ventures yesterday. But before, I discovered that Trigify impressed me with a feature that is actually not a part of Trigify itself. That's the ability of LinkedIn search. So I stopped my account, not just suspended it, but deleted my search, so it no longer spends credits. And I'm going to try the same in the LinkedIn's own interface. And I'm wondering how long will it take to actually learn that skill. So, for example, when we teach people programming in Fox Minded, some very successful students find their way around in 3 months already, only. But in the same time, so I'm an experienced software architect, and how many years did that took from me? It's difficult to isolate the actual progress time from that history. So I only know that I have more than 2 decades of experience, but how many time does someone need to reach the same degree of proficiency that I have? I don't know. And that's for my current area of expertise. So if I have to make some projections about a new area, that's a blind guess. Additionally, the problem here is that marketing is a research and insight heavy area. So you have to conduct lots of experiments. But in fact, when we do software architecture, it is also often a research of that type. My neck is not feeling well. in that position. Let's adjust it a little bit. So yeah, I'm concerned, but the problem is that I want to learn that area, and the only way to actually learn something practical is through practice, through experimentation, making mistakes and getting some feedback. So these years, the first source of feedback is language model. So you ask an AI agent or ChatGPT to act as an expert and provide you with feedback on the things you're sharing with that model. But sometimes it would be nice to find an expert. And if I would meet a course on social media marketing that is structured exactly the same as we structure courses, that the not just the courses but the whole learning process in Fox Minded, the courses for developers, like you get a very simple assignment and then you have to pass the review and get the feedback from a mentor. You do not have you do not get lectures. We in Fox Minded do not load you with lots of knowledge before you actually started doing anything. The whole process structured is that you incrementally do simple things, you search for theory on your own, and you that way absorb that knowledge. Practice driven knowledge absorption. And that's the most important thing in learning, is to focus on one thing at a time. Otherwise the knowledge simply doesn't stick, or it sticks in an illusory way, so you think you understood the lecture, but in fact you're unable to create something based on that knowledge. And that means that the very feeling of understanding is something separate from the actual understanding and the ability to produce things. And my problem is to structure my learning process according to that knowledge. So every time I focus on one simple step. And of course, I cannot absorb my whole trajectory because I'm not an expert. So I have experience as a tutor, so I can create the learning trajectory for any area. But if I'm not an expert, I cannot predict the outcomes of my student, me, myself in this case, after every exercise. So this strategy should be in continuous advancement based on what's learned and what I can, as a tutor, extract from experts, language models in this case, to adjust the next exercise. So I always know what to do next, what to try next. I always know the good exercise for this degree of development, but I cannot project how much time will it take to do things. And if I would about to reproduce the same progress for another student, I believe lots of steps would go away because they were failed experiments. But I cannot again predict that. I have to do all those failures, all that, those useless attempts to learn something, or like with Trigify, try to learn one product to realize that actually you are learning another product that is more useful for you in that case. So hopefully I will do the next small step on that trajectory today. It is kind of a free exploration about the keywords and the ability to use LinkedIn search. And I hope that I would be able to focus on that thing. Google Docs stole my notes for some reason. It was here on the screen. It decided that I do not need my file any longer, and simply an empty window of empty window of that file, just with an icon of Google Docs or Google Drive instead of the actual doc. Interesting decision. I always wonder how do developers decide to put some refresh in this particular moment, or how did the app decided to change the screen, because I didn't interact with it, and it is not expected to get some events from the server. And yeah, that's a demo how easy it is to distract myself. So back to the learning process. I hope nothing will distract me the same way later when I'll come up to experiments. And in particular, oh, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. The exercise is not just to try to learn something, to try to use LinkedIn with keywords. The first step is captured as draft a process for spinning up a new channel to capture my knowledge to the date. Yes, I definitely have that knowledge, and that's the trajectory I mentioned. So the first thing is, let's try to to figure it out right now, to recall everything. So the first thing is to create documents, write down what you're about to sell and everything that you know about this. AI could assist with capturing the knowledge, to restructuring your rambling into a document. Top model is important to use, because otherwise it will lose things, and that's a problem with trust. So you just do not use AI if you don't trust it. So when it is important not to lose anything, a top model is a must, is a choice. Then you captured that. You have to figure it out an ideal customer profile, and I recall a life hack by one guy. Call it initial customer profile. That's the thing you capture from your head, out of your head at that stage. So you're going to iterate on that initial customer profile, so it's moving towards your ideal customer profile. Then, based on that, you should brainstorm customer pains. Again, smart models are good in brainstorming, but they are good and they are bad at the same time. If you ask it for find me the best, the customer pain that is the best for marketing, you will get garbage. But if you ask it come up with 20 customer pains, then you'll be able to pick really nice ideas from that list. Some of them you didn't even think about. So you do that, you capture the customer pains, and then you again brainstorm keywords. At that point, there should be a process, a playbook, how to mine keywords, because there are tools. I have some tools, and you pass that process. The process is not a thing that could be finished, because there are chains of keywords. So you do some iterations for the initial seed, then you pick the most promising ones based on metrics and your intuition, and you will return to this iterating on keywords the same as you will iterate on every part of the backbone of your marketing campaign, starting with ideal customer profile, then keywords, evergreen topics, everything. So the next step, and remember, this is a draft. I'm capturing a thing that a strategy that could be wrong and not the most efficient, but that's what I remember so far. You have to use those keywords to find posts and profiles. In the perfect case, you will find the posts of your ideal customer profile matches, real people who match that profile, writing about those topics, your topics, so you will see their language, their actual problems, and you will draw conclusions from that data. Very likely at that point you're unable to find any examples like that. That's okay. So you have to find thought kind of influencers in that area, and that's a simple task, because when you use those keywords, the most of the profiles are people who are trying to systematically write on this topic, and you simply pick those with the maximum followers on them. The rest of the profiles are again unlikely your target audience, but some random findings. But if you found a nice example of your potential, of the audience whose attention you want to gather by social media management, that's great. That's great. You're lucky. Just do not expect that will happen inevitably. Then the next thing, and that's the bridge I'm learning right now. You have to somehow jump from the activities of influencers to actually finding the people who matches your ideal customer profile. Of course, as you do that, the very understanding of your customer ICP, ideal customer, right? Audience is not always a customer, but by default it's customer. Okay, you might adjust your understanding of your ideal customer profile as you do that. And here I do not have a clear path. So what people use? People scrape the followers of the influencers you've identified. People scrape reactions, likes and comments on the influencers again, and maybe that's the only way, because you either way scrape those. You can use automation to do that, apparently gray area legally speaking, or you can see the people and comment them. That's perfectly that activity matches the official meaning of any social network, is to find what's interesting to you and to comment there. But this is technically also a scraping, because just you're doing that with your eyes. Yep, and if you do that in any way, you have to qualify the profiles that you find, because many people are also not quite people, but either bots or people behaving like bots, mechanically commenting influencers posts just to reach their own visibility. And that's all right, because your target audience could also be doing something, because they're chasing different goals. Apparently you're not planning to sell something to someone who is doing the same things as you do, and the things that you want to sell as a consulting, like in my case. But people might be doing social media management in their areas, their professional areas. And that's the next step. The next step is to mine keywords to identify posts of your target audience, uh, and okay, yeah, that's a fun about filming on the street. People sometimes distract you intentionally just by joking. So what I was talking about, you find you mine keywords that people from people who matches your customer profile, your ideal customer profile, use in their posts, use in their topics. So you find their posts, and you will unlikely to comment those posts because you're not an expert there, right? So you cannot add some value, and I wouldn't use some slop commenting like, yeah, good, it's a nice observation, etc. Also, yeah, apparently lots of people do that as well. But what you actually need is to find those posts, to find the new profiles that match your ideal customer profiles, and then you could subscribe, you could monitor what they write, you could see their other posts and comments and reply there if any of those posts or comments resonate with you. And I think that that's the moment where I'm at. I didn't mention content production system because I already have it set up for me. So I mentioned the parts that I'm not that I already understand, but I haven't trained them to some good results. And I'm not mentioning the parts that I'm not thinking about at all, and those are the parts I do not know, the parts that are postponed, and the parts that are already good, already work as a system, like content creation. Content creation is all right, so I see some problems, like I spinned off an engine that creates pretty nice posts from random captured ideas, Twitter style. That's okay, that's helpful, but uh, uh, there is another strategy that could be more productive, is to create posts not from your thoughts but from your research. You studied the topics that are really interesting to the audience, that resonate, evergreen topics. You monitor hype, so you can comment on that and get those. I don't know. Yeah, get topics from there and to uh, serve algorithms, maybe, or maybe to resonate, to be found by keyword search. Anyway, that part doesn't work for me yet. It is not implemented in my engine, but it is postponed because I'm focused on the outreach, on creating activity. If people do not comment your posts actively because they do not see them a lot, even so, it is not important how interesting your posts are, and you need that composite system. Of course, if your posts are boring, then probably that's why algorithms do not show your posts to people. But according to what I know, that's not everything. You should be commenting more than you post, So apparently, if that system doesn't work for me, no point to improve the posting system. I should first learn and train how to do activity in commands, and that starts with other people posts and comments. That's the thing I'm learning. See you.